Hello, Knox Consortium. It's Father Brandimarti again, coming to you from Fort Jackson. Happy Easter. It's been very difficult to be here away from you, especially during the Easter season. I did have the opportunity to celebrate the Triduum with some brother priests here at Fort Jackson and the local community here on base, but it was very different, and it was especially hard to be away from you. And please know that I was praying for you. I was praying with you. And that's the beauty of our Catholic faith, is no matter where we are, whether we're on earth, whether we're in heaven, whether we're in purgatory, we are all united by being a part of the mystical body of Christ. So where two or three are gathered in his name, he is in our midst, and we are therefore with him. So even though I physically was not with you, I was with you spiritually. We were kneeling at the same altar, at the same foot of the cross, looking up at the same Christ as we celebrated his resurrection. So I hope you know of how deeply I was praying for you, and how deeply I continue to pray for you as we move through Easter. I am moving into the final phase of my training here at Chaplain Basic School. I just wanted to give you the recap. So DCC, Direct Commissioning course, that was teaching me how to be a soldier. That was the first several weeks. And then we moved into phase one, which was teaching me how to be a staff officer, learning how to write the Army way, learning what the different staff functions are, like S1 personnel, S4 supply, and how I work with them, how I advise a commander, how I be a good officer. So they teach you how to be a soldier, then they teach you how to be an officer. Phase two, which I just completed, was teaching me how to be a chaplain, which, you may say, well, Father, you already know how to be a priest. You're the best priest in the world. I'm kidding. But I already know how to be a priest. Why do they need to teach me how to do priest things? And there's really two. I had the same question. And to be honest, the first day of that phase, I was sitting there looking at the curriculum going, I know this. Why am I doing this? So there's two reasons. First, not everybody who enters the Army as a chaplain has the same training. The degree that a priest has and the experience that a priest has is different from many other faiths and many other ordained ministers. For example, one of the gentlemen in my squad, he's a hospice chaplain. He's an ordained minister, and he's been an ordained minister for a decade at least. But because he's a hospital chaplain, he doesn't have that practical experience of, I'm going to go and I'm going to preach, or I'm going to go and I'm going to administrate a church, or I'm going to do programs and Bible studies. Whereas some other ministers may only have preaching experience, but they've never done any type of hospital ministry. They've never done a funeral. So getting everybody to the same baseline is really what basic training is all about. That's the base and basic. So a lot of it was a lot of homiletics, a lot of learning how to preach, a lot of learning how to preach shortly, which I'm sure many of you will say that you're thankful for, that, Father Brandimarti can finally be a short speaker instead of a long preacher. Because, in the Army, often we only have 2 to 4 minutes. I come up on a group of soldiers that's getting ready to move out, and they may say, Padre, you've got 2 minutes, go ahead. And I'll have 2 minutes to give them something, to expound upon the gospel, to give them some strength, some hope. So learning how to do that is challenging, especially for people from many of my Protestant brothers and sisters who are used to services that are 2 hours long, an hour of which is them preaching. So scaling that can be challenging, and as well as funerals is another good example. We do a lot of funerals as Army chaplains, both for active duty as well as for veterans. And many of my brothers and sisters here have never done a funeral before, or they have very limited experience. So learning how to do funerals and learning how to do them the Army way, uniform and working together as a team with the NCOs and with the honor guard is very important. So that was phase two, which I just completed. Now we're into phase three. Phase three is putting it all together. So we have more classes about how to integrate these things. How do you bring prayer into a staff meeting? How do you get the other staff officers whose job it is to fight wars, to kill the enemy, to take the objective? How do you get them to not only think about the chaplain, but see the chaplain as an asset. And that can be challenging. And working with them so that the whole Army is working in sync to protect our nation. This all concludes with a fun event called Capstone. So Capstone is a multi-day event where we literally wake up at 2 a.m., we march out into the field, and we are in the field for an extended period of time. We are taking simulated fire, we are taking simulated artillery, we are doing mass casualties, we are working with medics, we are learning how to put all these things together. How do you be a soldier and an officer and a religious leader put together? Fundamentally, that's what it means to be a chaplain. So it's going to be very difficult. So please pray for me. It's a lot of physical activity. They say that you average about 20 miles a day of walking on your feet when you're out at Capstone. You just are walking constantly. One of the first days, the chaplain said, "Hey, if you wanted to swim, join the Navy. In the Army, we walk." So I'm learning to love walking. All of this will conclude with our final event, which is a 6-mile march. So we march with everything that we have issued to us on our backs. We have our Kevlar, we have our tactical vest, everything's on, and we'll just march in. And it concludes with the commandant of the school pinning the crest of the chaplain corps onto our lapel, which symbolizes that we are fully certified to be chaplains in the Army. So that's coming up. I ask you to pray for me, that I'll be safe. I'm very confident in my ability to do the things. Please pray for my safety. Please know I'm praying for you. I remember you at the altar constantly. I am celebrating your masses every day. I have my field mass kit ready to go so that when I go into the field, I will be able to celebrate masses for you. And I look forward very much to being back with you at the beginning of May. I think it's the first full week of May. I'll be back on that Tuesday. I have the drill. I get back and then I immediately have a drill weekend. But I will be back very, very soon. In the meantime, know of my prayers. Please pray for me. And I am so happy to be on the way home back to Knox County. God bless you and have a great day.